The smell of burnt coffee and rain-soaked clothes clung to Emily's uniform as she wiped the counter for what felt like the 100th time that morning. Her hands trembled, not from the cold, but from exhaustion. She'd been awake since 4 a.m., rushing to drop her 2-year-old son, Noah, off with a neighbor who reluctantly agreed to watch him just for a few hours. But when she'd arrived, she'd found the apartment door locked and a note taped to it: "Sorry, can't help anymore." The panic that followed had been immediate, raw, and suffocating. So she did the only thing a desperate mother could do. She brought Noah with her to work. And now, as the cafe's morning rush began, her tiny secret sat quietly behind the counter, clutching his stuffed elephant and nibbling on a half-eaten muffin. Every time someone came close, Emily's heart would leap into her throat. She'd angle her body, blocking their view, praying no one noticed the small pair of shoes peeking from behind the milk crate. It wasn't supposed to be like this. She'd promised herself she'd never let her son see her break. But now, in the middle of a bustling city cafe, surrounded by the smell of coffee and chatter of strangers, she felt like the world was caving in on her. If anyone found out, she'd lose her job. And then what? Speech balloon. Before we go on, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in stories that remind us of our shared humanity, please take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more true and inspiring stories like this to life. Dizzy, the bell over the cafe door jingled again, pulling Emily from her spiraling thoughts. A tall man stepped in, clean-cut, confident, dressed in an expensive charcoal suit that screamed CEO. His shoes alone probably cost more than her monthly rent. She recognized him instantly. His photo hung in the staff break room. Nathan Hale, founder and CEO of Hale & Co., parent company of Coffee Haven. Emily's stomach twisted. The owner was here. He scanned the room, his sharp eyes taking in every detail: the staff, the customers, the half-filled pastry case. When his gaze met hers, Emily forced a smile that she hoped hid the terror rising in her chest. "Morning," he said softly, his voice steady, calm, the kind that made people listen. "You new here?" "Yes, sir," she replied quickly, avoiding his eyes as she filled a cup. "Just started last week." He nodded, looking around again, then leaned slightly against the counter, watching her. "Busy day, huh?" She smiled weakly. "Always." Nathan ordered a black coffee and sat in the corner booth, tapping on his laptop, but his attention occasionally drifted to Emily, to the nervous way she kept glancing down behind the counter, to the subtle movements of her feet as if shielding something. Noah shifted behind her, whispering a soft, sleepy "Ma'am." Emily froze. She prayed the sound had been swallowed by the espresso machine's hiss. She knelt down quickly, pressing a finger to her lips. "SHHH, sweetheart. Just a little longer, okay?" His big brown eyes blinked up at her. "Hungry?" Her chest tightened. She slid the last muffin from the tray and broke it in half, tucking a piece into his tiny hands. "Quiet, baby, please." But when she stood again, she noticed Nathan watching, not harshly, but curiously, his brow furrowed slightly. Their eyes met, and she could see it then. He'd heard. She turned away, pretending to rearrange napkins, panic flooding her veins. She was done. He'd fire her, maybe even call the manager right now. She couldn't even begin to explain why she'd done it. Minutes passed like hours until she finally gathered the courage to glance at him again. He wasn't at his booth. Her heart raced. Then came the sound of soft footsteps. Nathan stood on the other side of the counter, coffee cup in hand. "Emily," he said quietly, and there was no judgment in his tone, just calm, steady curiosity. "Is there someone behind the counter?" Her breath hitched. For a moment, she thought about lying, about saying it was just a crate, or a pet, or anything else. But the truth was written all over her face. Slowly, she stepped aside. Noah peeked up, eyes wide, clutching his stuffed elephant. The cafe fell silent, the kind of silence that feels like the world stops breathing. Nathan stared for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then, softly, he crouched down to Noah's level. "Hey, buddy," he said with a small smile. "That your elephant?" Noah nodded shyly. Emily swallowed hard. "I am sorry, Mr. Kale. I didn't have a choice. My babysitter canceled last minute, and I couldn't miss work. Please, I'll pack up and go." "You don't have to." Nathan raised a hand gently, stopping her. He looked at her, really looked, and she could see something flicker in his eyes. Something deep, almost pained. He stood again, his voice barely above a whisper. "I was that kid too." The words hung in the air, heavy and unexpected. Emily blinked. "What?" He took a slow breath. "My mom used to work double shifts at her diner. She'd hide me in the storage room when the manager came by. Said it was the only way we'd both make it through the month." He looked down for a moment, then back at her. "I know what it's like to be in your shoes." For a second, Emily couldn't speak. The world around them blurred, the clinking cups, the chatter, even the rain tapping on the windows. All that existed was this moment. Two people connected by struggle and survival. Nathan didn't fire her. He didn't scold her. Instead, he said something that made Emily's knees almost give out. "Take the day off," he said softly. "Both of you. And come see me tomorrow morning in my office." Emily nodded numbly, unsure if she'd just been spared or set up for something worse. That night, as Noah slept in her arms in their tiny apartment, she replayed his words again and again. What did he mean, "Come see me tomorrow"? The next morning, Emily arrived at the Hale & Co. headquarters, nervous and holding Noah's hand. The receptionist smiled and led them to a private office on the top floor, a sleek, glass-walled space overlooking the city skyline. Nathan stood by the window, his suit impeccable, but his demeanor warm. He gestured for them to sit. "I've been thinking," he began. "What you did yesterday, it wasn't right, by company policy. But I also know desperation doesn't follow rules." He turned toward her. "You're clearly trying your best. And from what I've seen, you're not afraid of hard work." Emily's hands trembled in her lap. "Sir, I can work extra shifts. I'll do anything. He smiled faintly. "That's not why I called you here." He paused, then leaned forward. "I want to offer you a position in our new community initiative. It's a program for single parents, flexible hours, on-site childcare, full benefits." Emily's eyes widened. "You want me to work there?" "I want you to help me build it," he said quietly. "You understand the struggles firsthand. You can make it real, meaningful. I want to give people like your mom and mine a chance." Tears filled Emily's eyes before she could stop them. She covered her mouth, trying to steady her voice. "I don't know what to say." Nathan smiled, the kind of smile that carried old pain but new hope. "Just say yes." That day, something inside Emily shifted. The weight she'd carried for years, the fear, the exhaustion, the loneliness, began to lift. She started the new role the following week. For the first time, she could bring Noah to a safe place every morning. He'd play with other kids while she worked on building a program that would change lives. She watched other parents walk through those doors, hesitant, broken, hopeful, just like she once had. And every time she saw one of them smile, she thought of that moment in the cafe when a stranger whispered, "I was that kid too." Months passed, and the cafe that once held her worst fear became the symbol of her new beginning. Nathan often stopped by, greeting her and Noah like old friends. The community program grew rapidly, expanding to dozens of branches. Stories of single parents finding stability, dignity, and hope began circulating across the city. Emily became more than just an employee. She became a voice, a testament to resilience. One evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, Nathan visited the cafe again. Emily was wiping the counter, the same one she'd hidden behind that fateful day. Noah ran up, his laughter filling the air. Nathan smiled, handing her a folder. "Take a look." Inside were documents naming her Director of Family Support Initiatives. Emily looked up, tears spilling freely. "You don't have to do this for me." He shook his head gently. "This isn't for you, Emily. It's for everyone who's ever had to choose between surviving and being seen." The cafe was quiet again, but this time, it wasn't from fear, it was from awe. Emily reached down, lifted Noah into her arms, and whispered softly, "We made it, baby." And for the first time in years, she truly believed it. Sparkling Heart, if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share it. It reminds others that kindness can change lives, even in the smallest, quietest moments. Before we end, here's a special request: a memo comment below with "I believe in second chances" if this story moved you. Let's fill the comments with hope, because sometimes all it takes is one act of understanding, one person who says, "I was that kid too," to change someone's entire world.